Sometimes it's good to just dance.
Welcome to the Good Stuff Family Podcast. I'm Dawn Kendrick, and I am so glad you're here. These are stories from the perspective of a news reporter on a next-level assignment. Everyone has a story. Stories of hope, resilience, and how we believe God weaves people, relationships, opportunities, all of it for good. For many of us, faith leads our steps, others not so much. But that is what makes this growing Good Stuff family great. We know the journey is better together. Welcome to the family.
Well, I got a suggestion. Sometimes it's good to just dance. Come along.
Good morning, January 24th, and it's Friday, which means we are about to gather around what we call the virtual gratitude table. For our best part of Waking Up is Waking Up series. That's what we say. That's what we believe, that if we've put 2 feet on the floor, this day is an awesome opportunity to see the good in others and be the good for them. So as always, my faithful friend, Rich Smith, my friend in faith and my right-hand man to put all of this on production value and beyond. Good morning, Rich.
Good morning, Don. Good morning, Pastor Charles, and good morning, Good Stuff family. Hope everyone's well today.
Yeah, and always we have faithful Pastor Charles with us as well. And Pastor Charles Eduardo's, good morning.
Good morning. Glad to be here with you all.
And I'm so grateful for you. You're so faithful, and we love having you along on these because you're always so good for that Holy Spirit perspective. And today is, wow, it's a story that I've been part of literally since 1984, technically, because it involves my high school alma mater, Incarnate Word Academy. And I'm such a super proud alum more than ever now because of the story that has been playing out for years now at Incarnate with their basketball team under Coach Dan Rolfes, who is this just, to say it's a basketball dynasty is really not overstating it. He's 53 years old. Okay, so for perspective, he's a Missouri Sports Hall of Fame coach, 13 state titles. You guys, 7 of them were consecutive. I'm just scratching the surface of the facts and stats. But what the story that we love beyond basketball is that, quite frankly, Coach Rolfes, by doctor's accounts, should not be alive. Wow. Because of a heart. Yes, crazy. That's not overly dramatic. 1% chance of survival heart attack that he had after the semifinal game last year in Columbia, Missouri. Walked out, had this heart attack. So we're going to walk our listeners and viewers. Thanks, by the way, for joining us. We're so grateful. We're going to walk you through the story within the story, like now you know the rest of the story, if you will. A lot of people do know it, but I thought I'm going to really share it with these people who are coming faithfully to this podcast to see why I so believe that in every story, if you just scratch the surface of a Good Stuff story, inevitably there are so many other stories right beneath the surface, and this is powerful. So I'm gonna show a short clip of a game that we watched on Monday. It was hard for me to watch. I don't watch a lot of games that I feel invested in, and this was just to set it up. Incarnate Word had won 141 games consecutively. It goes back to pre-pandemic. The last time they had lost was February 8th of 2020, I think it was.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, you don't even have to be a sports announcer or fanatic to realize that is huge. It's huge. So, and they had just beaten, the record to beat, let's see, I think it was going to be 138, and they had just beaten that on January 11th, okay, with win number 139. So on Monday, we're all watching as they played this I think is a number 1 ranked team in the country, actually, and they broke the streak. They broke it, but Coach Dan will tell you, I knew it wasn't going to last forever. How many of us can relate to that in our own lives, right? But they did break the record, and then in this game on Monday, that winning streak was broken. But I'm going to play this clip really quickly. It's from ESPN.
Comes in undefeated at 10-0, 140 consecutive wins. That spans 1,808 days. Their last loss was February 8th, 2000. Been a little while. Some things have happened.
Well, that is sustained excellence, and it starts off with plays like that.
Nice pass.
So to be watching this, like on I know so many people were texting. I was texting friends of mine too who were watching. To be again in the not just national spotlight, but I would argue even beyond world spotlight, and to be able to understand the story that is underlying this basketball team now that has just happened in less than a year. It was March 15th that Coach Dan Rolfes had that heart attack. But when I started to scratch the surface of these stats, the girl, think about this, that the players that have been playing with him, some of them have never lost a game in their entire high school career. Just think about the significance of that. 13 state titles, 7 of them consecutive. Longest win streak in high school girls basketball. I think in 2 weeks, it would have been 5 years since they had a loss even, right? February 8th. So with that setup, again, I want us to just listen in quickly to this ESPN coverage as well. I'm going to roll it here.
Dan Rolfes, head coach in his 24th season for Incarnate Word. They have been around the block and really proud of the program that they've built up and the sustainability that has happened in that St. Louis school.
The work that he's put in, and he's become so well known across the country as a national type of coach. You can get players to the next level and understand how to do it the right way.
Morris wide open, buries a three.
So this group of young women have not only excelled in basketball, but the things that they have learned, and that this community, this Incarnate Word, a community, and I'm talking back generations that have been praying for Coach Dan. That heart attack on March 15th, we were able to interview Dan and his wife, Lisa, who was a nurse, who was so instrumental. She was with him when she had to do CPR and had to do the defibrillator. And, spoiler alert, he survived, but no one knew at the time. Again, March 15th of last year, no one knew. Doctor said a 1% chance of survival for this otherwise healthy coach. So let me roll this soundbite from an interview that we did with them last year. Let's see. No, this interview was just a couple weeks ago.
I mean, it was, they said get through the first 24 hours would be a miracle. And then, they said if you could get through the 48 hours, then we'll talk and see, where we're at after that. And I just remember we were almost at 48 hours, and the night nurse came to me and she said, Dan just coded again. I mean, we're right at 48 hours. They said he went into another heart rhythm, irregular heart rhythm. We had to shock him, and just had to bring him back. So, but they were able to bring him back, and it was just, everything was just touch and go. I mean, nothing was ever too positive or optimistic. We did know pretty quickly after the first 24 hours, we felt like he did have some brain function. He was responding yes or no. This whole time he's on the ventilator. So, he is shaking his head appropriately to questions that we were asking that he would only know how to answer yes or no to. So that was all a great sign. Unfortunately, 24 hours right after this, he was in a lot of pain and real uncomfortable. And, they assumed, of course, that was CPR related, but all his vital signs got really, really bad. And they took him in to the emergency room, and they were just going to try to find out what he had going on. They thought it was something worse than it actually was. It ended up being a laceration on his liver, but they didn't give us much chance of him making it out of surgery just because he's lost. They were doing blood transfusion after blood transfusion, had a rare blood type. And, here he is on all these blood thinners. He has a heart assisted device in his groin, and blood pressure was not stable. They barely could turn him, let alone move him to the operating room. And they came back after about 3 hours and they said, we can't believe it. It's a liver laceration. Everything looks great. His vitals went up, and they still had him on the heart assisted device, but things just then slowly improved.
So, Rich and Pastor Charles, can't you almost feel how everything was just hanging by a string there? Can't you feel it?
Yeah, absolutely. Wow.
Hanging by a string, but in faith, this whole support system. So I want to roll this video that we did with Incarnate Word Academy President Sharon Gherkin. She is one of my favorite people. She's larger than life. And again, Incarnate Word Academy, the high school literally named for Jesus, the Word made incarnate, standing on the very faith they profess, basically. This is an interview that we did with Sharon. Let's see, it was on March 29th. So take a listen. Point about how many people this is reaching. Okay, so a couple days ago, I started pulling over some numbers, some graphics and some research. So here is the Caring Bridge 2 days ago. Okay.
Oh my goodness. I didn't know that.
2 days ago. I thought it was a typo. 45,586 people visiting this page to check in on this beloved coach who probably had no idea. Maybe had a hunch, but no real tangible idea of how beloved he is beyond basketball. Now, that was 2 days ago. You ready for this? Okay, see that number? 45,000 some change? Here it is today. Oh, it's smaller. Look at us both leaning in. 47,345. That was an hour ago. I'm sure it's gone up. These are people.
That's astounding. I mean, that's astounding.
Tell me more.
The platform that Dan has as a coach at Incarnate Word Academy, the commitment that Dan has to this mission, sending his 2 daughters here, and he's had numerous, countless opportunities to go elsewhere. And Dan says, this is where my heart is. This is where I want to be. And I just think that speaks volumes about his character and the man that he is.
Just faith that I was, hopefully gonna, make it through this, this challenging time. And it was awesome to hear how many people were praying for me and were on my side and just were so good to me and my family. It's really unbelievable to know that many people were thinking of me and cared enough about me and my family to take time out to pray for me and be there for us. So
no doubt in mine and his family's mind that is all due to the power of prayer and God's grace and God's will for Dan, that his life on earth here, he still has work to be done. And we're all very, very grateful that Dan has work to be done yet.
Amen. And it's a perfect opportunity for the faith that we profess at Incarnate Word, the Word Made Incarnate Academy. we not just profess it, but to stand on it. And that's people are
Lean
watching.
into it. Yeah. There's no doubt. And
So let me remove this, you guys. Here, we're doing this on the fly. So again, I want to reiterate that when Sharon was saying that, that was 2 weeks to the day that he had his heart attack. And again, no one knew which way that it was going to go. So I submit this to anyone listening. Like, what are you worried about nowadays? What is it that's weighing heavily on your heart? The power of prayer that came out of Incarnate Word. Here's a picture of him. This is when they were heading to Colombia. Okay, a year. It'll be in March. It'll be a year. So I'm just so moved by the timeline that we're coming up. Okay, guess what? They broke some other team, Etowanda out of California. Very good, by the way. Broke their winning streak. But guess what can't be broken? The faith that they have demonstrated and continue to demonstrate. You know, this is the team they were playing. It was at Etowanda. I almost said edamame. It's Etowanda, and they're good. If you haven't heard of them, I'm telling you, it was stressful watching that game. But you know, when you figure he's been 24 seasons with Incarnate Word, you know, these teams, these girls, these families, this legacy goes so far back for a 53-year-old coach. So this is the legacy that he's leaving. Here are the signs they all were holding at that championship game. Remember, his heart attack was coming out of the semifinal game for state champion. You know, he's a bit of a he's experienced in heading to state championships. We just said 13 state titles, 7 of them consecutive. But at this game, Dan Rolfes was in the hospital fighting for his life. And look at the signs. We love you, Coach Dan. Pray for Coach Dan. This is anyone watching that state final, you know, the championship game, saw faith in action. So maybe I'll take a breath here and just your reactions, Rich and Pastor Charles, when you see this, again, faith in action. There's no other way to explain it.
Well, I was waiting for you, Rich. It's in the hard times. This is the testing of our faith. And Paul even talks about how we have to work out our salvation. God, through his son, Jesus Christ, has provided for us, according to the word, everything that is required for life and godliness. So we have that already, even though sometimes it doesn't feel like we have it. And sometimes we feel weak and helpless. But the beauty in this is all of the hearts going out, forgetting about themselves and focusing on Coach Dan. And here again, growing out of what God is. And that's that nasty little 4-letter word called love.
And it occurs to me, like, it's a small school and it is family. So here is Lisa, his awesome wife, we told you about, who is the nurse. Here's his entire family. So it's his family by blood. I love this picture of them. That's his blood family, but the extended family, who's listening, who knows that extended family by divine design, we say God-given family.
Yes.
You know, for Coach, it looks like this, and it looks like this when he's not even there.
Yes.
So I want to just put that on the hearts of people who are listening, that, and remind you again that, so March 15th was the heart attack. By April 23rd last year, okay, from March 15th to April 23rd, he's back to visit his team at Incarnate Word. Think about that. A 1% chance of survival. He had all these internal injuries from the intense CPR, the ventilator, the one thing after another. is that, and so here, let me show you this video that Incarnate Word produced, that the day that he came back to see that team.
Hard work goes into moments like these, and we just really good moment for us because we've been through a lot together. But like Abby said, it's definitely not the same without Coach. He's done so much. He's like the backbone of this program 100%, but we would not have gotten here without him for sure.
Thank you. Thanks. I can't believe how long it's been.
I'll open the door. We'll just chat. You come on.
You know, this is the first time that I'm seeing our girls since the heart attack, so I'm pretty excited to see them. I miss them. It should be fun. So good to see you guys. I miss you guys so much.
We did get taller.
Should have done it a long time ago.
You look good.
I missed you so much. Trusty managers. Did you guys know I was coming?
No.
Wow.
Pretty cool, isn't it? Pretty cool, if I do say so myself. Pretty cool. So, okay, now I want to remind people of the timeline. So when we interviewed them on December 2nd, we were able to bring in a couple of there are 3 captains, I do believe, of this team. And Savannah Stricker is one of them, of the team captains. And here's what she said in our interview, trying to kind of give us a window into what they were feeling when they knew that he's coming back. And they're on to another season. They're on to, at that time, breaking the record. Lost a game in your entire high school career. You guys have never lost a game in your entire high school career with Coach Dan, correct?
Correct. Yep.
So what is it, do you think, about him beyond, obviously he's a phenomenally talented basketball coach. What is it about him though, that sets him apart for you, and why you were praying so hard, the things that maybe people don't know about him from the headlines?
Well, with the outreach of people, you can really tell that he tries to make a personal connection with all of his players, which makes it a lot easier for us to play for him and want to play for him, obviously. And when things like that happen, obviously there's not a doubt in our mind that we're gonna obviously pray for him and his health, but just having him as a coach, and having a really good personal connection with him just makes it that much better to play for him. So yeah.
That interview was one day before they headed back to Columbia, Missouri for the first game of this season. So the momentum going in, remember that what you just heard from Savannah was coming off of when Coach first came back to Incarnate. Here's the second part of that pre-produced video. And again, you heard them commenting in that interview right before they headed back to a game that was never guaranteed.
I just can't believe I'm so proud of you guys. Put everything aside and still win and play. I don't know, just all the uncertainty, just don't know, just unbelievably proud of you guys. And I mean, you know, for you guys to pull that off is pretty amazing. So, now I'm sad I'm not in the picture. Somebody got a photo Stay hungry, I love it. That was pretty good.
That was KJ.
That was KJ.
So, wait, what is the pitch? This is a charity.
I know, right?
You want to take a seat?
Never gets old.
Oh my God, yes.
Never gets old.
I know, right?
I miss you all. I miss you all so much.
Can you wait for you to be back in that office?
Yeah, I know. I think everybody just wants to hang here.
Wow. Just amazing leadership.
I don't know. The theme for me that I keep hearing over and over is fortitude in his family, in his players, in himself. It reminds me of Ephesians. I think it's 2:8, where it says, "For by the grace you have been saved through faith." And it's not your own doing, but it's a gift from God. Like that, I keep hearing that. And when I saw that poster that said "Stay hungry," I keep thinking, yeah, because we keep pushing regardless of the circumstances, and knowing that each one of those moments that makes us stronger in our faith and in our action.
And in that last clip, boy, Don and Rich, I mean, just the vulnerability that he showed with his team, it was just reflective of Christ. I mean, just that humility, that vulnerability, he creates a sense of family, and true religion is all about relationship.
Okay, right. Sure. And, you know, again, any question why I'm so proud of my alma mater more than ever right now. And as we begin to wrap this up, the momentum going forward after a game where their winning streak was broken after almost 5 years, you know, all good things must come to an end. But here's the momentum going forward for this school that has so led by example.
Just reaching over top of Stricker. Straight to the bucket. With a foul. Great finish. Nevaeh Caffey. And now she's back in the box score.
She said, "Hey, with your coffee brewed, nice and strong, off the balance. I'm gonna come right at you. Not only one, but two defenders. Can't stop her."
Nevaeh Caffey, she's heading to Indiana. She is a dynamo, as you heard the announcer say. Nevaeh Caffey. Anyone care to guess what Nevaeh spells backwards? It's heaven. Nevaeh spelled backwards is heaven. And she's such a leader on this team. It's so exciting to watch. I'm sure knock wood, there's no reason to believe they're not headed to their next state championship. You know, they've got such dynamos on there. So yeah, super cool. And I'm keeping an eye on the time. I thought a great place to wrap this up is there's a sports anchor director here at the NBC affiliate in St. Louis, Frank Cusimano, who covered their story, coach's story. And what a great way to wrap up with, you know, my background in media, to hear this take from Frank. What a great guy he is as well.
Hi, this is Frank Cusimano. Just want to congratulate the coach on the greatest comeback I've ever covered. And I've covered a lot, 32 years here at Channel 5, and I don't think we've ever done a story on a coach who basically, from all rights, should have not made it. And not only has Dan Rolfes made it, but he's coming back and he's going to win another state title and he's going to continue this win streak. I've known him his whole career. I love his intensity. I love his passion for winning. But most importantly, I love his faith. And I think he learned more about his faith when he went through what he went through. And I think he loves his wife even more. I think he loves his 3 kids even more. We've been in that house. We've seen the way they interact. And there's just a strong love. There's a strong faith. You can't deny it. You simply can't. And, you know, my number one story for 2024 is Dan Rolfes. And it may end up being my number one story of all time. Congratulations, Dan. Be pulling for you all season long. Thanks.
So why don't we just leave this right there? Let's just leave it right there, y'all. And just big love for the Rolfes family, for the Incarnate Word family,
Yes.
and appreciation for how they're leading by example. And here's the good news of it all. Each of us can do the same from the very hardest parts of our lives. We could do the same.
Amen.
So on that note, Rich, this is what we say every time. Pastor Charles, it's not that hard to do, y'all. See the good in others. Be the good for them. Keep praying. On your mark, get set.
Let's
go.
Sometimes it's good to just dance.
You've been listening to Don Kendrick's The Good Stuff Family Podcast. If you found inspiration here, would you click subscribe, follow, share as we grow our Good Stuff family tree? Check out thegoodstufffamily.com for links to all our social media platforms and for how you or your business could sponsor a story. The Good Stuff Family, reaching and touching hearts around the world by weaving families together one story at a time. On your mark, get set, let's go.
Well, I got a suggestion. Sometimes it's good to just dance. Come along